It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. My friends, on today's episode, I just can't help it. You know, I love listening to all the metal and progressive metal and the new rock and pop and all the new bands and jazz fusion. It's all great, but sometimes I just need to get back to some good old classic rock and roll. And who better to turn to for some good old classic rock and roll than our friends in The Who? That is what I am up to today. I'm going to be diving into Who Are You? This is a song that is ubiquitous. Of course, I've heard this. It's on television shows, it's in commercials, but I've never really looked into its backstory, and I've never given it a critical listen. And so I am eager to dive into this classic rock classic with y'all today. Now, The Who is a band that is not unlike many others that I have known through the years. I knew about this band, even knew some of the members of the band and some of their songs before starting the Daily Doug. But I have become much more intimately aware of their repertoire and their personalities over the life of the channel here. And I've really enjoyed getting to know these musicians and their music more. And that's what I'm up to today. I'm continuing on. As far as what we've heard previously, I've heard the entire album, Tommy. I reacted to that over on our Patreon. And a few months ago, I released it here on YouTube for y'all to enjoy. I have also reacted to all of their Quadrophenia album, which is still one of my favorite full album reactions. That's over on Patreon as well. Here on YouTube, we've heard their Live at Leeds album and Who's Next, A Sight at a Time on some Masterpiece Fridays. That's been fun. We've also heard a couple of other little tracks here and there, but today we are going to the title track of their 8th album, Who Are You?, which was released in August of 1978. The album, unfortunately, has the distinction of being the last to feature Keith Moon as the band's drummer, because he sadly passed away about 3 weeks after the album was released. And sadly, we wouldn't get to hear any more recorded efforts by Keith with the band. This particular song ends the album. It's not often that you see a title track ending an album, but this is where this one is. They had been performing it for a few years. I think they first performed it on their 1976 tour, and then it shows up here on their 1978 album. And Pete wrote it, and of course, it's based on an actual occurrence. I mean, the first verse of the song basically tells exactly what's going on. Pete had been out drinking in the Soho neighborhood of London, and he was with Steve Jones and Paul Cook of the Sex Pistols. And apparently at some point in the evening, he had kind of passed out in a doorway, and a policeman came up and encountered him and happened to recognize Pete and said, well, you're okay to go as long as you can safely walk and get yourself home. And Pete kind of responded, well, who the fuck are you? And we get one of the better lyrics in a classic rock song, right? And a great classic song. So let's get to it, shall we? We've got Roger Daltrey on lead vocals. Pete Townsend is on guitars and synths and backing vocals. John Entwistle is on the bass and backing vocals. And Keith Moon is on the drums and percussion. As far as the version of this song that we're going to use, I had asked several folks, should I use a live version? Should I go to the studio version? And most people said, do the studio version. It's really, really great, but avoid the radio edit. Avoid the single version. Go for the full album version. So that is what I am up to today. Let's get to it. This is Who Are You from The Who. Off we go. Right. Get big bass, you get a little bit of guitar, you get the synths in there. Great opening to a song, right? how inspired is it to just do some hi-hat work as this gets going, right? It's in E, but it's E mixolydian because they're making use of the lowered seventh. You can go to sleep it off at home tonight if you can get up and walk away. That's exactly what happened. Whistles back there just making an E octave just rock and roll, right? So when I say mixolydian, it's a 1, major 1, flat 7, 4. Get that major third from the E chord. And a great breakdown here. It's been so long since I've heard this. And it's just spacious, and it gives you this anticipatory feeling, like what's going to happen next? Take it and whistle. Woo! Flat 7. 1. There. Hang on. Still E. Major. Yeah, so now we're using the leading tone. Woo. Just great. Just the hi-hat. Lovely little piano in there. Lots of great sounds in this. Piano's just playing some pentatonic sounds over the top of that. Sounds great. Verse 3. Just makes you want to dance, doesn't it? Just a driving, great rock and roll classic. play along again some more. Flat 3, 4. Yeah. So they use that little flat 3 as the way to finish off the song. And they've been using that lowered third in the riffs, especially in the bass, but largely been using the G sharp in those E chords. But at the very end, a G major chord, flat 3, and then a major 4 before we get back to major 1. That was so much fun, wasn't it? An absolutely great song. I don't think I've heard anything else from that album yet, besides that one. And yeah, if that's the kind of the vibe that this album is, then I definitely want to get into more of it. So I want to leave you with a little story about how Megan and I almost got to see The Who in concert. So it was back when we got married, after we got married. We got married in 2001. And we got married actually on August 4th of 2001, about a month before 9/11 happened. And we got married in Nebraska. I'm finishing up my master's here in New Jersey at the time. So we got married back home in Nebraska. We come back out here for the school semester, and we're here for the year, the fall of 2001 into the spring of 2002. And we decide during the summer of '02 that we're going to move to Kansas City because Megan's going to continue her studies and do her graduate work. And eventually I'll do my doctoral work at the University of Kansas. They're not too far from where we lived. So we decide that we're going to be moving before school starts in about the middle of August. But I had bought for our anniversary tickets to see The Who at Madison Square Garden on our first anniversary on August 4th, 2002. And I was looking forward to it. We both were. We had heard of The Who enough to know that we thought we were going to enjoy it. We had never been to Madison Square Garden before, and we're looking forward to that. But our landlord told us, well, your lease is through the end of July. And if you stay through to August 4th, or you leave a few days later, we're going to charge you not a prorated rate for the number of days into the next month. We're going to charge you the entire next month that that is due us. And Megan and I, as lowly students at the time, just could not make that financially work. So we ended up having to change our plans. We had to move and get out of New Jersey in July so that we didn't have to pay all that extra rent. And sadly, we ended up selling our tickets to a friend, and they enjoyed the show. Entwistle was still alive and was performing with them, so we haven't had a chance to ever see them now. And, of course, Keith is gone. He's been gone a long time now. Entwistle is no longer with us. And The Who is now coming out with another one of these. It's going to be the last time you're going to see us, y'all. At least the two of us who are left. And I think they're planning this big new culminating tour for their entire career. And I'm going to see if Megan and I can finally get to see them and close the loop all of these years later. So we still, y'all, have never been to a show at Madison Square Garden or a sporting event. I've been underneath it on the train, but I have never been inside the arena, and I still hope to one day see a great concert or a show there. I've heard that the acoustics, especially in the garden, are spectacular. So that's a little bit of a story as to our history with The Who. And, I bought those tickets mainly because I had seen that, oh, this is going to be on our anniversary. That'd be fun. I'll take my wife to a concert on our anniversary. It just didn't end up being able to happen. And then all these years later, we still haven't been able to see them or go back to that venue. But we are still relatively young, so I hope that we can get to at least Madison Square Garden and see a few shows. And I'm hoping to be able to see The Who on their current tour or their upcoming tour and see if we can finally see them in action. Because if they play something like this live, I'm going to be hard pressed not to play air drums or sing along or both. And that's really what it's all about when it comes to great classic rock and roll. It's getting up and moving, enjoying yourself, enjoying the vibe with friends, letting off some steam, and just partying and enjoying this existence. And in the meantime, we get to question, who the hell are you with The Who? A wonderful way to spend a little bit of my Wednesday with all of y'all. Thank you for hanging out with me while we've been listening to Who Are You by The Who. Thanks, y'all. We'll see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.